What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Tight Lines Podcast, hosted by me, Tyler. In today's episode, we have another great gear review coming your way, but hold on tight because it won't be anything like the last one. Today, we will review the Daiwa Tatula CT bait casting reel. The last one we did the Abu Garcia Max Pro reel. Today, we're stepping it up and going to the Tatula CT from Daiwa. We will talk price, specs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, a little backstory on how I got this reel. So, about 4 months ago, I went online and got two new fishing rods. I bought the Dobbins Maverick series. I bought a 734C and a 735C. I wanted to start upgrading my casting gear and get some a little bit better. So, I went on and bought those two rods, and then I needed some reels to compare to them. These are $120 rods, so I was looking for reels at about the same price range. I decided on the Shimano SLX XTA for my 735C. It was an 8.2-to-1 reel. That'd be like my top water reel, my punching rig, my really heavy duty setup. I decided that that's what that would be for. And then I needed my all around setup on my 734C. It's a 7'3", heavy, fast, and I needed like a 7.2 or 7.3-to-1 reel, something comfortable, something just to throw pretty much everything on. I did my research and I looked around, and in that price range, I knew I wanted to try a Daiwa because I had that Shimano. I was like, okay, I have a Shimano. I've tried Abu Garcia. I've tried Luz. I want to try a Daiwa just to start getting, expanding my horizons here. So I went out and looked throughout the Daiwa lineup and found one that was in my budget and that kind of fit what I needed, and it was the Daiwa Tatula CT reel. This is a 7.3-to-1 reel is the one that I bought, and I threw it on and started fishing with it. I used 20-pound mono on it, and we will talk all about all the things that happened with it in a moment. But that's just how I got to this reel, okay? So as I was doing my research, I went ahead. I started on like Tackle Warehouse, and I go to all the websites, and here is exactly what Tackle Warehouse says about this reel. Offering anglers a wealth of performance and value, the Daiwa Tatula CT casting reel was specifically designed and manufactured to bring anglers looking for an entry-level bait caster an entirely new standard of performance and aesthetics. Extremely palmable, the Daiwa Tatula CT casting reel weighs a mere 7.2 ounces and is a compact profile that feels great in the hand, making it a pleasure to fish all day long without fatigue. What really makes the Daiwa Tatula CT casting reel special is the inclusion of the T-Wing system level wind, which is the guide on the front, which opens up the line feed during casting and reduces line resistance, allowing the line to cast further with less backlashes. It also features Daiwa's patented MagForce magnetic casting and braking system on the exterior side plate that makes adjustments quick and easy for longer, more accurate casts. Available in multiple gear ratios to give you a perfect option for any technique, the Daiwa Tatula CT casting reel brings versatility to anglers of all walks. And features that they talk about is an aluminum frame, the T-Wing guide system, ultimate tournament drag, and a 90mm swept handle. Specs on this reel, at least the one that I got, is a right-handed reel and a 7.3-to-1 gear ratio. It is 7.2 ounces in weight. At 14 pound test mono, it holds 120 yards. At 16, it holds 100 yards. It has 7+1 ball bearings. So, price. This comes in at a $149 price tag. It's just under $150 for what sounds like an excellent reel. So now, obviously, what do we have to do? We have to review it. So, like I said, I initially bought this reel back in probably early June. Would have been about the time frame. Late May, early June of this year. Threw it on the rod, started fishing it. Took it on a week-long trip down to South Carolina with me. Let's start off with what I got. So when I got it, I went up and picked it out, and it was fine. I liked it in my hand. It felt good in my hand when I got up there. And so I decided to buy it, and I get home and I start fishing with it, and I noticed the first thing I don't like. And the first thing I don't like is the handle. The handle is a 90mm handle, and it just felt too small. It felt undersized for this reel. It felt like I couldn't get any sort of leverage on the reel. So I went ahead and went online and bought a 110mm sized reel or handle and replaced the handle. And that made all the difference. I loved the reel with that handle on it. Because the handle felt small, the grips felt small. I didn't feel like I could grip the grips on here. I didn't like anything about the handle that was included. It just felt undersized. It felt cheap and underbuilt. So I started fishing it and had a great time with it. A couple good things I noticed. One is it does feel good in the hands. It's a little bit bigger. It's a larger profile than you would get out of a like an SLX. But I actually enjoy that. I have larger hands, so I didn't mind palming this reel. I think it felt great. It wasn't very heavy. Again, feels pretty nice in the hand. The thumb bar is pretty accessible. Things I like about it, everything on it really clicks if you listen. So here's the magnetic braking system on the side. Nice click. Here's the drag. Here the drag clicks. And then here's the tension knob. I guess it doesn't click. I thought it clicked for some reason. So the tension knob doesn't click, but I'm not too worried about that. But again, nice tubing system, nice design on the outside, nice coloring. It's got that little spider on the side like all the Daiwas do. For some reason, they're obsessed with Daiwa or with spiders on the side of it. So yeah, it's an aluminum frame, which is what I wanted. I knew I wanted to step up from graphite to aluminum frame. Other good things, it has good casting distance. I did notice that I could cast it very well. I could really bomb cast with this thing. I could throw 40 to 50 yard casts with, a half ounce or 3/4 ounce, jig on there with, a small trailer where there's very little resistance. You can really bomb cast with this thing. Really, really liked that. I liked the way it fought fish. I thought it did a really good job of just being able to horse a fish if you needed it. You could also play a fish pretty well. I did like the way that all that worked. I like I said, it fought a fish well. It felt good in the hand. The tubing system does work as advertised. I do like it. I think it's cool. I think it's a lot of extra moving parts, which we'll talk about in a minute. But overall, I did like the tubing system, and the braking system worked fine. Again, not really an issue with backlashes. Any backlashes were my fault. The reel didn't really just backlash for no reason. It seemed like if there's a backlash, it was like, yeah, I probably could have done a better job there. So there's all the positives that I've found so far. It had a good number of gear ratios. I think it comes in 3 gear ratios, maybe just 2, but I know there's at least 2. I think there's a 7.3 and an 8.2, but I thought there was a lower end one as well. Maybe not. So we're going to move, and then again, more positive. I like the color. It's like a grayish blue, a little shiny on the outside. It looks good. It's got, everything you'd want to see on the Daiwa logo. It says TWS next to it. It says it's a Tatula CT and a 7.3. It's got a little graphic on the side. It's, everything's marked. Everything's real nice. So it's a very good looking reel. I really do like the way the reel looks. But that is really all I have to say about good for this. So, negatives for me. The first negative for me was the handle size on it. I did not like the way the handle felt, and because of that, on a $150 reel, I had to go out and spend another $40 to find, a good handle. I'm not going to go out and spend $5 and get some crappy handle that's going to break. So I had to go out and spend another $40 on a 110 millimeter sized handle to actually make this a comfortable reel to fish with. So now I'm at $190 on this $150 reel. The next one I didn't like. So it talks about it's an aluminum frame, and that is correct. The frame itself is aluminum. The shell that you hold is not. That is going to be graphite, and that's not one that I really quite put together when I picked up in the store, and that might be my fault. I was kind of, you know how it gets. You're looking at reels, your mind's going a million miles an hour. You're kind of just like, oh, this feels good, this looks good. I've looked at this one, I like this. And so I didn't really think about it until I got home, but listen to this. Here's me flicking the side plate. That's not aluminum, right? I mean, every part on this that I'm flicking, here's the real seat. You ready? Here's the real seat. Listen to this. That's just graphite. That's plastic, which I was shocked to learn when I got home. I'm guessing the interior is aluminum, but nothing on the exterior is aluminum. Unlike many other reels like the SLX XTA that I've got. It is fully aluminum. And so I was pretty disappointed in that at $150. Like I said, I didn't really pick up on that until I got home. I started looking, I was like, interesting. So, and then obviously my big issue here. So here's the big story finally. So I get home from South Carolina. I've had this reel for about 30 or 35 days. I'm fishing out back in the pond behind the house, and it starts making a weird grinding noise. It feels like it's hard to reel it in, and I can't figure it out. So I go inside and I go in and I get some grease, and I grease up the reel. I go into like the snake gearing underneath the line guide and grease that up, and I don't take it apart because I don't want to take the reel apart. But it kind of seems to smooth out just a little bit, maybe not. Go back out, keep fishing. It's kind of making a weird grinding noise, and eventually and I'd had a problem with the thumb bar not sticking down, so I would push the thumb bar down to cast, and it would kind of just pop back into place. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I'm casting, and finally on one cast, as I'm literally throwing this lure out, the thumb bar goes back into place, and I hear these gears just grind. It almost sounded like if you're driving your car, and instead of stopping with your brake, you just put your car into park, and it's just like it was this horrible sound. And I immediately knew, like, oh crap, that's not good. So grabbed the reel, took it inside, looked at my receipt, said, oh yeah, okay, I haven't had it for their full return amount, or full days until return. Packed it up, drove an hour up to Bass Pro, and returned the reel for the $160-something, and started looking around. I looked at the pro qualifiers at Bass Pro. I looked at another Shimano SLX, and I eventually settled on just doing another Tatula. One of the reasons was, instead of $150 at the time, it was $99. It had gone on sale, which, looking back, maybe not. And I had thought, maybe it was a lemon. I know Daiwa makes great reels. People always rave about Daiwa and their quality. So I'm going to give Daiwa another shot. So I do that, come home, throw some line back, throw a new line on it, come back out, and I fished it for the last 2 months. And yesterday, on September 9th of 2025, I'm out fishing, and it's kind of making that weird, it almost feels a little grindy to reel it in. Almost just like the reel is dry. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to fish for a couple more minutes. I'm going to go inside and lube it up real good. I'm going to, this time, take the side plate off and go inside and, lube it up real good. Maybe it's just dry. And I'm out there, and I've got a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait on it. And keep in mind, that's not a huge lure. I mean, these reels should be able to throw a 2-ounce lure on them. So I've got a 3/4 ounce lure on it, and I go to cast it out, and it does the same freaking thing. I push the thumb button down, I cast it pops back up, and I hear that grinding sound. And immediately, again, this is 2 months later after getting this reel, and if you look at this reel, you guys, there is not a scratch, a dent, a paint chip, a nothing on it. This reel looks brand new out of the box. And are you guys ready? I've got it in my hand. Here's how it currently sounds with no line on it. You ready? That sounds pretty crappy. I mean, so listen. You hear that grinding? It just doesn't sound, I mean, it's like it's hooked on something. It's like a gear in there broke and it's squeaking. So obviously this reel has broken twice. So I went on and did some research and found that there's some issue apparently with the anti-reverse in the clutch, and it fails very, very easily. For me, I've had this reel, so this is my second one in about 3 months, 3 to 3.5 months, and both have crapped out on me. And for me, that is a major issue at the $150 price point. The fact that I can spend $150 and get a reel that breaks in 2 months is not a good sign for me, because here's some other reels in the same price range that have a very well-known history of being excellent, durable reels. The Shimano SLX XTA, I've got one of those. It's $144.99 right now. The Lew's Super Duty GX3 Speed Spool is at $159.99. Or the Abu Garcia Revo X LP reel, which is also at $149.99. So all three of those are within $10 of what I paid for this, and those have really nice long histories of working well. So when you start thinking about this reel, right, you start thinking about it at $150, you would expect durability. And I just listed 3 options that have better history of being durable. Now, let's take into the fact that the handle on this is very uncomfortable. Here you go. Listen to this. I mean, it's just, again, $150 reel. Now, let's talk about the $40 handle I had to add onto it. So $189.99 was spent on this reel, including that handle. For that price range, for $209.99, I can get a Shimano Corrado MGL 150. I can get a Shimano SLX DC for $199. You can get a Johnny Moore Signature Series for $199, or an Abu Garcia Revo SX for $189.99. There's loose reels that are out there. There's a bajillion other reels out there from other companies that are going to work just as well for the price. So, what are my final thoughts here? My final thoughts is that the Tatula CT is a good concept reel that needs a lot of improvement. For my findings, funny enough, I think Daiwa discontinued the reel as well. It did not show up on their website when I was prepping for this episode. They seem to be everywhere. They kind of jump on and off sales, like people are trying to get rid of them, which is very interesting to me. This reel needs improvements. One, obviously, it sounds like there's issues with the gearing and with the anti-reverse clutch. The second issue for me was the lack of aluminum that I could find on this reel. It felt, most of this reel on the exterior, anything you touch, maybe it's just the paint that they have on it, but it feels graphite. Everything feels like it's graphite, not aluminum. And for $149.99, it should be aluminum. I'm sorry, but it should. I understand where we're at in this world. It's hard to find a $100 aluminum reel, but at $149.99, it should be aluminum. It may not be the greatest, but it should at least be aluminum. I was very disappointed in this reel. That's kind of the big takeaway from this is I did not have luck with this reel. I know other people have. Good for them. Maybe I just somehow got the the two lemons in the group. Maybe I'm just unlucky in that way. But I just couldn't find a reason to want to get another one. It's the old saying of fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not getting fooled again. That one kind of bummed me. I was upset. I loved the reel. I loved the way it fished. I liked everything about it. I had good casting distance. I really did like the reel until it crapped out on me early. And for me, the biggest reason that people spend a little bit more money on reels is not for the looks. It's not for the looks of it. It's not for how well it matches your rod. It is for how it performs and how it holds up. You want a reel that's going to be comfortable in your hand. You want a reel that's going to last you for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, somewhere in there. You want it to be durable. You want it to fight the fish right. You want everything to work the way it should. And this one just didn't. And that's what was disappointing about it, because I really liked the reel and the concept of this reel. So again, final thoughts for me. It's a good reel that needs a lot of improvement, which is probably why they discontinued it and moved on to other Tatula models. I'm not sure if I'll ever try one of those, honestly. It's just I start thinking about, money. And here's the other part of the story is yesterday afternoon when it broke, I had to get ready to head into work. And yesterday was day 61 since I bought the reel. Bass Pro has a 60-day return policy. So I'm getting ready in about 2 hours to drive my butt another hour up to Bass Pro Shops on the north side of Indianapolis and to go hope and pray that they're going to be kind and see that, look, this is the second one of these I've gotten and they both crapped out on me. I'm done with these reels and they're going to give me my money back. And so I'm kind of hoping and praying that they do, because if not, then I've got a $100 paperweight sitting in my hand right here, and I don't want a $100 paperweight. I want my $100 back, because funny enough, of that second grouping of reels that I listed off, the Shimano Corrado MGL 150, the Shimano SLX DC, the Johnny Moore Signature Series, and the Abu Garcia Revo SX, I actually bought one of those yesterday, and it's on its way as the replacement for this reel. So I decided to upgrade just a hair. I can't return that handle I had, so I'm holding on to that in case I ever need it for something else. But I'm not too worried about that over anything else. So hopefully you guys have learned something from today's episode. Sorry it was kind of a quick one. I'm actually recording this a day after I recorded last week's episode, but it's because I wanted you guys to literally be able to sit here and hear this. I wanted you guys to hear the sound of the reel trying to turn with no resistance on it. That there is nothing resisting this from turning. I am literally holding the reel and attempting to turn the handle. And that is the sound that it makes. Obviously, something is broken there. The thumb button is really hard to push. It's almost impossible to push that thumb button right now. So I wanted you guys to be able to hear that. So I didn't have a ton of time to prepare for this episode. But I wanted you guys to get a review on this. And I wanted you guys to actually hear what I was talking about so that you could understand what I meant when I said that there was that grinding sound. Because I think it's important that if I'm presenting this reel in a way of it being negative, for that you guys need to be able to hear what I'm talking about. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, go ahead and pop onto my YouTube. If this is coming out on Wednesday, 2 days ago on Monday, a video came out where I reviewed this as well on my YouTube channel. And you guys actually get to see the reel. And again, you'll see how great of condition it's in. You'll see the handle. You'll see everything I'm talking about. One more quick negative that I actually just noticed, funny enough, because I never adjusted the drag, is that the wheel, the pinwheel for the drag, is also plastic. It's not an aluminum piece like you would find on most other reels. So it feels like Daiwa cheaped out here. So final thoughts again. If you see, I don't really like it. If you see one on sale, there's probably a reason for it. I would disregard it. I would look for something else from the 7 that we listed, from the SLX XTA to the Revo XLP to the Signature Series to the SLX DC to whatever, right? The 7 that we listed, or any other reel that you see in that price range that you might like, I would check one of those out instead. I would not go near this reel. I just don't think it's going to be worth your time and your hard-earned money. So, all right, everybody, that is this week's episode for you all. Again, sorry it was kind of a Debbie Downer episode, but I'm going to give honest reviews here. No one sponsors us. No one pays us to do reviews. I'm going to be honest. And that was my thoughts on the Daiwa Tatula CT. And again, I want to be very clear here. That's my thoughts on the Daiwa Tatula CT and the 7.3 to 1 gear ratio. I have not tried anything else from Daiwa. I have a Daiwa rod out in my garage that I absolutely freaking love. But I have not tried any other products, any other reels from Daiwa, so I cannot talk about the rest of their reels. This is solely talking about the Tatula CT from Daiwa. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you have, please be sure to drop us a positive review on whatever podcast platform you tune in with. We are currently on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon Podcasts. So if you're listening to us, obviously you found us on one of those. Go ahead and check us out on the others if you want as well. Drop us a follow, drop us a positive review, a like, a follow. Also, please be sure to check out my Instagram and my YouTube. Both are Tyler Plackey Fishing. On there, you'll get to see the video of me actually showing this reel and talking about it. That is coming out. It actually came out 2 days ago compared to when this episode is releasing. But you can also go on there and see everything else I've been up to. You can DM me suggestions for the show. You can ask questions for the tackle box, or just chat with me, honestly. We'll talk fishing. We'll talk life. We'll talk golf, drones, whatever you want to talk about. Let's talk it. So thank you all so much for listening every week and dedicating your time into the show. I do appreciate you guys spending your time here. I know there's a bajillion other podcasts you could listen to, so you guys picking this one does mean a lot to me. I do appreciate you guys spending your time here and giving your support. And until next time, y'all, tight lines.